morning, everybody. We've got Maxime Bernier talking about military spending, veteran spending, really. We've got the implosion of the NDP and Andrew Scheer saying these are not the actions of innocent men. Very interesting. But first, Maxime Bernier saying, quote, the Trudeau government can find billions of dollars for SNC-Lavalin, BlackBerry, and Bombardier to build roads and fight climate change in Africa and to fund countless diversity programs, but it doesn't have money to properly take care of those who made a huge sacrifice for this country. Shame. And he's linking to an Ottawa Citizen article, and the Ottawa Citizen article was published on February 21st, and it says, some disabled veterans to receive less financial support under the Liberal plan, PBO, the Parliamentary Budget Office. They do reports and things. Okay, while most disabled veterans will see a small boost in financial support when the Trudeau government implements a new pension system in April, a new analysis shows some of the most severely injured will end up with less than under the current system. And the financial benefits available for all under the Liberals' pension plan will fall far short of those provided to veterans before the federal government replaced a long-standing disability pension with the current system in 2006. Those are among the findings of a new study by Canada's Parliamentary Budget Officer, which comes about a month before the new Pensions for Life is implemented and amid anger about the system within the veterans community. The federal Liberals had promised during the last election to reinstate lifelong disability pensions after many veterans complained that the lump sum payment and other benefits that replaced it were far less generous. While that was widely interpreted as bringing back the pre-2006 pension system, the Trudeau government instead introduced its own version, which came into effect on April 1st. I want to pause here and mention this. Trudeau used not talking a lot about his policy to imply what his policy was going to be. He criticized Harper for changing the way the life pension plan worked and implied that he'd wind it back. He changed what Harper did to what Harper did. But instead, he rolled out his own version, which is actually worse than what Mr. Harper did. So it's very interesting that Justin Trudeau counts this, in my opinion, I don't know, I haven't heard his opinion on this, but he would count this as a win because he changed the pension system, despite the fact that it's not enough and despite the fact that it's actually less than what Mr. Harper was doing. In his warped mind, he has fulfilled some promise by changing the system. You guys wanted change, you got change. Here you go. There's some change. Vote for me, right? Back to the article. But I want you to be aware of that. Not back to the article. Hold on, this is me still. I want you to be aware of that because that's being tried by another major party, right? It's interesting. Not putting out, and it worked for Doug Ford. Doug Ford won in Ontario by saying nothing, but there was nobody else to vote for. You couldn't vote for Andrea Horwath, and nobody was going to vote for Miss Wynne. So Doug Ford, all he had to do was ride it out. This election is different. The federal election is not going to work that way. If Mr. Scheer doesn't come out with a plan and a plan soon, there's going to be a problem. And having this implied plan, we would have done it better, doesn't go far enough, right? Like we need concrete, how would you have done it better? There's a lot more. There's a lot more that needs to be filled in on the Conservative Party's plan, in my opinion. Okay, I wanted to make that clear. Back to the article for real this time. That version has been blasted by veterans as a betrayal of the Liberals' original commitment. That's kind of what I was just saying. In his analysis released Thursday, Parliamentary Budget Officer Yves Giroux confirmed what many veterans have alleged, that the Liberals' Pension for Life doesn't offer the same level of support as the pre-2006 Pension Act. Yeah, well, we knew that. So you can read the rest of this article for yourself. Link is in the description. Here is Justin Trudeau confirming that he does not care about veterans. I don't know why any Canadian would join the military. I don't know why anybody would fight for Justin Trudeau the way he's treated the military, what he's done in his tenure. I honestly, and my brother is in the military. I have the utmost respect for our servicemen and women. But under Justin Trudeau, he does not make it an attractive prospect to fight for the Canadian military. So here he is.
Why are we still fighting against certain veterans groups in court? Because they are asking for more than we are able to give right now. They are asking for more than we... Well, no, hang on. You're asking for honest answers.
So there you go. I'm just going to leave him there. And I took the visual off just because I realized this wasn't the raw feed. This is somebody else's YouTube thing, so I didn't want them to be on my YouTube thing. All right. Here's Andrew Scheer, and he is tweeting about the criminality of, or the lack of innocence by people who behave this way. And this is a very solid meme. We're going to watch the whole 2 minutes because it's worthwhile. Again, Mr. Scheer is going to be a major player in this upcoming election. We need to pay attention to him, just like we need to pay attention to Justin Trudeau. Regardless of the lies that he's spewing, people are going to vote for him, and we're going to see who in just a minute. But here's Mr. Scheer first.
By now, I'm sure you've heard about Justin Trudeau's latest scandal and his efforts to cover it up.
Investigation into political interference allegations against the Prime Minister.
Liberals used their majority to vote against a public inquiry into the SNC-Lavalin controversy.
The former Attorney General breaks her silence behind closed doors.
Now, Conservatives have been pushing on every parliamentary channel that we can. We called for the Justice Committee investigation, but the Trudeau Liberals shut most of it down.
Monsieur Boissonneau?
No.
Ms. Khalid?
No.
Mr. McKinnon?
No.
We called for a public inquiry, but Justin Trudeau and his Liberals voted it down. I've asked dozens of simple questions in question period.
Did he at any time express his support for granting SNC-Lavalin a deferred prosecution agreement? Yes or no? Was the Prime Minister aware of Canada's top prosecutor's decision when he had the meeting with the former Attorney General? Yes or no? A very simple yes or no question. Will he allow Gerald Butts to testify under oath at that very committee?
But Justin Trudeau's story keeps changing. He won't answer direct questions.
Continues to focus on the things that matter to Canadians, like delivering a Canada Child benefit. It was her responsibility to come and speak to me directly about that.
But not necessarily direct, Prime Minister. Was there any sort of influence whatsoever?
As I've said, at no time did we direct that we are standing up for good jobs right across the country. If Scott Bryson had not stepped down from cabinet,
He even tried to blame Stephen Harper.
it's a legacy of the Harper years.
Trudeau's closest friend and most senior advisor has resigned in disgrace. All while Trudeau has claimed there's nothing to see here. These are not the actions or the behavior of an innocent man. Justin Trudeau is accused of trying to intervene in a criminal prosecution and trying to push the Attorney General to do the same. Now he's trying everything to cover it up. Well, I'm not going to let him.
So I've been talking about Andrew Scheer's strategy of asking questions and questioning the sanity of that strategy as Justin Trudeau just uses talking points. He doesn't actually answer the question ever. He just talks around the question or gets out the thing that he wants his base to hear, because that's what they'll hear and that's what the news will broadcast, right? So here's the reason for the strategy. He's using the questions in his campaign ads, and these are reasonable questions, and the fact that we don't have a reasonable answer from the Prime Minister is unbelievable. And I like this meme. I think it's good. Andrew Scheer's cleaned up a lot of the criticisms around the early memes. So the CPC machine is doing its job. It's listening to people like me and people who are all across the internet, helping them perfect their messaging. That's not a bad thing necessarily. I don't think that's bad. Like I said, I think this election is going to be between Mr. Scheer and Mr. Bernier, but I could be really wrong about that, and I'll show you in a minute. But still, that's the reason that I'm reporting on this. We need to know what they're saying, because that arms us, right? Being informed helps us know where we agree, where we disagree, and how we need to message to get to someplace where everybody can agree, because that's what we should be doing and striving for in leadership and governance of our country, not beating the other guy necessarily, right? I want Canada to do well, right? If that's under a Liberal banner with solid fiscal, financial, and economic markers, hey, I'm fine with that. So long as we're not blowing through billions of dollars in debt for no reason, yeah, fine with that. No problem. I don't care whose jersey is in the Prime Minister's office. I don't care. What I care about is sound fiscal management. That's what I care about, right? So having a minority with Bernier as the opposition or Bernier as the balance of power, that would be, at least we're not doing more damage, right? Because the government can fall. if more damage is going to be done, and Bernier would have the power to make the government fall. You can use the balance of power well. But anyway, there's so many factors, and sorry, I'm getting off topic, so I'll apologize and get back to focused. Who is voting for who in the upcoming by-elections? When people asked, and I said there are people who are voting Liberal, and in Quebec, Outremont, people are voting Liberal. This is a safe LPC riding as of February 17th. So I wonder if that's going to change. Like, today's the 23rd, the election's on Monday. This is a huge margin. I don't know if the PPC candidate can overcome that. That's a pretty big, that's a huge spread. That's a lot of points. And I mean, even a 20-point spread here, like 20 points, even if both margins of error were wrong, so 34 to 25, 24, a 10-point spread, that's hard. That's hard to overcome. I don't know how somebody else overcomes, because you're not even block, maybe. No, I don't see it. So it looks like at least one seat is going LPC. So that's Quebec, Outremont. That's February 25th. Here's York Simcoe, safe CPC. And not to say this is a different story at all. It's not. This is a 15-point spread. It looks like the Conservative candidate is going to easily win this seat. And again, this is February 17th. I haven't seen an updated poll since then, and this is one of the most up-to-date poll trackers I use. Link is in the description. You can check for yourself. And that's not the one I wanted. This is. And here's Burnaby South. Laura Lynn TT making a dent, and the NDP Jagmeet Singh looking like he is going to secure his party a seat, and in doing so, secure his party's demise. Here's iPolitics reporting, and this is yesterday afternoon. They said, quote, 1/4 of the NDP's MPs who were elected in 2015 are not seeking re-election in this fall's vote after 2 Quebec MPs ruled out running again earlier this week. Okay, so let me explain that for you. An incumbent has a huge advantage over anybody else. They have experience in running and winning an election, so they're not newbies. Somebody new at this is at a disadvantage. You don't have contacts in advertising, you don't have contacts in fundraising, you don't have your machine set up, right? So you're at a disadvantage, whereas somebody who's plugged into the community knows, has been talking to these people for years, has vested interest in continuing to do whatever, quote, work they're doing. And regardless, I'm not using that as a nefarious quote. I'm saying, like, if you're working on a file, it doesn't stop because there's an election, right? Like, people are still working on things that you have set into motion. So whatever you're working on, regardless of what you've set in motion, you're still working on it, and you still want it to go forward, because that's just the nature of government. And regardless of, again, whether people agree or disagree, right? There's left and right. There's differences of opinion of how we get to certain places. So some people find certain things more important than other people, and it can be ideological. It can be just an ideological difference and whatever. Anyway, again, an aside. When you have MPs who are incumbents who are saying, no, I'm not doing this again, that's not happening, that's a huge hit to your party. That means it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. It could be open to the hot, young, new party, the PPC party, because everybody's on equal footing. Now, the LPC, the NDP, the CPC, they all have machines, right? The Liberals, the Conservatives, the NDPs, they have a machine set up. So a national party supports the local EDAs, so they can plug into that a little bit easier. But again, it's when you've got 11 people who you have to bring up to speed, it's not an easy task. It's not simple. And setting up all of those systems and those people, putting them all in place rather than making a few phone calls and saying, "We ready to go again?" It's different. It's a challenge. So something to consider. And that was a long walk this morning. So I hope you enjoyed your coffee. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And it's Saturday, right? We're supposed to get lots and lots of wind in Ontario tomorrow. So batten down the hatches, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Check out the People's Party of Canada.ca, because polls are meant to influence, not to inform. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.